Hi, my name is Kevin Fernandez, and welcome to my channel, Genie. Today, we're going to be talking about my top 10 favorite games that I got to play this year in 2021. And unlike last year, I actually did get to play a lot of games that came out this year, so very lucky for me. I enjoyed a lot of different ones. I am including expansions on this list, so I want to let you guys know this is one of the lists where I'm making an exception for expansions. Traditionally, I don't do them. This time I am going to do them because I had some missed opportunities here and there. This time it's totally my fault. I do not have an easy out like I did last year. Last year I was just like, oh, pandemic. That's why I didn't do it. This time it's like, nope, it was me. So, without further ado, let's count down. All right, so number 10 is Patchwork, the Halloween edition. Patchwork is an old game, and there is several different versions of it, but this year they did release a Patchwork Halloween edition. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was really unique. I liked that they used eyeballs for the buttons versus just having like maybe like a creepy button design or something like that. But I liked the colors. It was really good. It was Patchwork, but with Halloween stuff. That's why it's number 10, because if you played Patchwork, then I don't really see why you would want to add this, unless you're like one of those collectors that just has to have each version. If you like Halloween, I highly recommend getting this game. It's really fun. It's a 2-player game, just like all the other Patchworks. But I thoroughly enjoyed the Halloween edition, and yeah, number 10, Patchwork Halloween. Okay, so my number 9 is Fort, the Cats and Dogs expansion. Now, last year, I believe it was last year, Leader Games released a game called Fort, and it's right up there, right there. That one. And we even did a how to play video on it, and I'll probably leave a link to the how to play video on Fort in the video, in this portion of the video. But what it is about is you are some kids and you're building a fort. You can add kids to your lookout that are not your best friends. You can build up your fort level, make it bigger. You can get more kids to help you out. You can play cards to just go up on the victory track. And there's several ways you can end the game. You can use perks to help you win the game. You can use made-up rules to give you bonus points at the end of the game. It is really fun. The Cats and Dogs expansion adds what it says, cats and dogs. You get the cats by fulfilling a certain requirement. So like some cats you need like 2 or more of a certain suit in your yard, and then the cat comes to them. But the thing is, you have to keep that up, so that way you make sure that you're the one who always gets to keep that cat, because unfortunately your opponent can actually steal it away. So let's say I had a cat who came over because he was attracted to, and that's what it says on the card, attracted to someone who has 2 or more crowns in their yard. Well, I had 2 crowns in my yard, but then Jordan got like 3 crowns. Well, then she gets the cat. And you get bonus points for how many cats you have. Your end game score will go up based on how many cats you have attracted. So if you attracted all 3, it's like, I think, 9 points. It's crazy. The dogs are pretty good, but this is more of a gripe of me. I had a hard time figuring out what some of these dogs' abilities were. So you had to do the top part in order to do the main ability. So the dog one of the dogs was add book. And I'm like, what does that mean? Does that mean I get to take a book card? I didn't quite understand what that meant, and I was having a hard time doing it. But then later on I figured it out, and then it was a little difficult because I had to play a book. But anyways, all in all, it was a really fun game. Great addition to Fort. If you do like the Fort game as it's on its own, I highly recommend getting the Cats and Dogs expansion. Also, if you just like having like an animal theme to some of your games, and you have Fort and you're kind of like, I don't know, I would definitely recommend getting the Cats and Dogs expansion for that as well. So yeah, number 9, Cats and Dogs. Okay, so number 8 is The Goonies Never Say Die. The Goonies Never Say Die is a role-playing game by Funko Games, and honestly, I had a blast playing this game. It was super fun. You get to play as the kids who are members of the Goonies. Now, you don't get to play as the teenagers who joined them later on in the movie. You only get to play as the Goonies themselves. So the ones who were the Goonies at the start of the movie, not the unofficial, official, Goonie members. So you don't get to have those other two. So it's like, Chunk, it's Mike, Mouth, it's, Data. All those characters are the ones you get to play as. You get to go through the different scenarios through the movie, plus you can also make up your own as well. So that's really cool too. Jordan and I really do love the Goonies as a movie, and honestly, if you are a really big Goonies fan, you are going to love this game. Being able to use these characters, the character designs are just like 100%, in my opinion, 100% perfect to the movie. It does feel like the characters, it feels like something that they would do or say. Everything about them is based off of something that they've done or said in the movie. It was just a blast. And I hope we get to play it again at some point because it was just so much fun. So, number 8, Goonies Never Say Die. Okay, so my number 7 is Flourish. Flourish is number 7 because it's a pretty relaxing game. You're making a garden. You play a card. You pass one to the player to your right. You pass one to the player to your left. There is some sabotage that you can go through to this. So like, let's say I wanted to go for roses, and Jordan could trip me up by giving me like dandelions or something else. That won't really help it. She won't even give me a card that will help benefit me for going for the roses. So there are some ways you can trip up your opponent, but most of the time it's just really relaxing. You just place things, flowers. The artwork is beautiful. This one is by Starling Games, so of course the artwork is going to look really good because Starling Games has some pretty talented artists in there hidden up their sleeve. And so yeah, that was basically the premise of the game. I would definitely say play it a couple times. This is one of those games where you've played a couple times, but you're going to want to play it a couple times because you want to see what all the cards look like. You want to play this game more than once. And it's one of those games where you can try to do better every time. It's kind of one of those games where you're focusing on your own thing. You're not really focusing on what your opponents are doing. Like, oh my gosh, they played that. I'm going to try to trip that person up. No. This is a game where it's kind of you're only thinking about what's going on. So if you like those games where you're only thinking about what's going on in your little world right then, I do recommend Flourish for that. And, the flowers, all the scenery, everything looks so beautiful. That artwork is beautiful. So, yeah, for just the artwork, I would encourage people to try out this game. So, number 7, Flourish. Okay, number 6, Gargoyles Awakening. This is based off of the Gargoyles TV series from back in the 90s. For those of you guys who are all big fans of that 90s TV show, and are now humming the theme song because I just said gargoyles. You get to play as the gargoyles from the first season, so that would be Goliath, Hudson, Brooklyn, Broadway, Lexington, and I believe that's it. I don't think you get to play as Bronx. No, you don't get to play as Bronx. And no Angela either. Bronx is featured in the cards that you get to use to fight against the enemies. Your enemies are like, Demona and Xanatos and Coldstone. And of course, they play true to the character of Coldstone, where his personalities kind of switch. And so sometimes he's kind of fighting with you, sometimes he's fighting against you. And I like how true it stays to the source material. It's always nice when a game goes that extra mile to be like, oh, this feels right, and it feels like something that the characters in the show would do, or the characters in the movie would do, or the characters in that book would do. I like it when a game company goes that extra mile. They don't have to, but they do it. And they're miniatures, so that's one of the cool things. Oh, you also get to play as Elisa. I remember that. Elisa is one of the characters that you get to play as. Gosh, I'm kind of a little... It's been a long day, so... yeah, you get to play as her, and Jordan and I played it probably technically day 2 of Gen Con, but it was day 1 for us, and it was really fun. I really, really enjoyed this game. Can't wait to play it again. It is phenomenal. Ravensburger does such good work with their board games. And, I just love everything they've done. I hope that I get to play their Alien game at some point, because I am a fan of Alien. And so, yeah, number 6, Gargoyles Awakening. All right, speaking of Ravensburger, number 5 is Horrified, American Monsters. This one definitely belongs in the middle. Because, yes, the mechanics is Horrified. So if you played Horrified, you're going to know how to play Horrified American Monsters, or at least, catch up to what's going on pretty quickly. That being said, I like that the monsters aren't all the same. You don't have to, smash something and then kill that monster, or you don't have to, trap that monster in that one space. There are some monsters where you do have to collect some stuff, but it's not like, this is just the skin, this is just Dracula in a different skin. This is just, Frankenstein in a different skin. It's not that. Each monster in the American Monsters, in my opinion, is very different and feels different from the monsters from the original Horrified, which is back here. This is a different Horrified game, so I don't think it's a good idea to play the how to play video for the original Horrified, but it is in this channel, so I do recommend checking it out. And I am planning on making a how to play video for American Monsters at some point once I get the game. It is really hard to get right now. That being said, Chupacabra and the Banshee of the Badlands are the only 2 that I've played with. They were really good. We beat the Chupacabra, but we did not beat the Banshee, mostly because the demo was over. We demoed this at Gen Con, so that was the only reason why that was over, but I was wanting to buy it. Unfortunately, you could only get it online as a pre-order and then pick it up at Gen Con. That was something I wish I knew before doing that. Well, I know now, and I will definitely be using that pre-order feature in Gen Con in the future. So, number 5, Horrified American Monsters. Okay, so number 4 is, was really hard on where I was going to place this one. Sleeping Gods by Red Raven Games. I love this game. It is a phenomenal game. I love the story. I love how it can be different depending on what you choose. And it's just so good. The artwork is beautiful. Ryan, great job all around. Because Ryan Luquette is the he's the designer, he's the artist, he's everything. This guy is a really talented game designer. So Ryan, hats off to you. This is definitely, this game right here, definitely one of my favorite games. I love playing it. One thing is, it does stay on my shelf of opportunity quite a bit, not because it's not anything against this game. It's mostly because, unfortunately, you know, I've been focusing on a lot of other stuff, and a game like Sleeping Gods definitely is a time consumer, but thankfully, it does have a feature where you can pause the game at any time. So I will say that is a bonus, and that's why it actually has spent less time on the shelf of opportunity than most games like that. So there are a lot of games that have like that story-driven, choose-your-own-adventure kind of role-playing thing. Stuff Fables, Dungeons and Dragons. There's a lot of games like that, but you can't really pause it. You can't really stop the game. Or you can, but you gotta wait until you get to the next chapter or you get to the next level or whatever. This game, you can be like, hey, I'm getting kind of tired, or I'm a little winded from that last adventure. Let's take a break. We'll come back to it later. You can do that, or you can say, hey, you know what? It's time for bed. Let's take a break. We'll come back to it tomorrow. I just love that. I love that this game has that kind of feature in it, and that is definitely why it is number 4. Okay, so I know what you guys are thinking. Kevin, you already put Sleeping Gods as number 4. What could possibly have topped it for you? Well, I'm going to have to say one of them is number 3, The Loop by Pandasaurus Games. Wow, this game was pretty fun. It's a cooperative game. I know there are some people who don't do co-op, but I definitely do co-op. And this cooperative game is pretty cool. It's definitely got a difficulty that can really take you for a ride. We do have a how to play video on it, so I will link that in the video, and I will link that in the description below so you guys can check that out. But The Loop is a really fun game. You have to defeat this guy named Dr. Foe and his clones from destroying time itself. It is really cool, and well, he's also stealing a bunch of artifacts from time as well. And so you have to defeat 4 missions. Once you do that, you win automatically. However, if 4 vortexes show up, then you automatically lose. There is no, and I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, well, that sounds easy. It is not. It is a lot easier said than done. There are ways you can kind of modify the rules, though, for different player levels, so that's a good thing. I always love it when a game has like a player modification for different levels. So don't panic if you're kind of new to the hobby. This is a pretty decent welcoming game. This is a pretty decent welcoming game. It is really enjoyable. The artwork is very unique. I do love it. And yeah, and I know that there's an expansion coming out soon, so I will definitely be on the lookout for that too. It's already been released in Europe, I believe. I'm just kind of waiting for it to translate to English, and then I'll probably get a copy of that. But number 3, The Loop. Okay, so number 2 is the game Cascadia. It is not currently on the shelf. So that means it must be downstairs. By Flat Out Games. Cascadia is a really good game. Again, it's like Flourish. It's one of those relaxing, you kind of just focus on what's going on in your own little world kind of game. And that's perfectly fine. I really like this. I can see, what I love about Cascadia is the game where players of all gaming levels can play. So if you're like a beginner, you can play it. If you're like kind of in the middle, you can play it. If you're like this big gaming expert, you can play it. It's really fun. And you can change the difficulty and level of this game by swapping out the animal cards, and which will change the patterns and what you need to do to score points. This game is just really fun. It's really great. Flat Out Games makes some pretty great games. I don't think they did Patchwork. It feels like they did. Let me know in the comments down below if they published Patchwork. Kind of feels like something they'd publish. Oh no, it's Lookout Games, not Flat Out Games. Okay? But anyway, yeah, I like, even though they always say you don't have to pay attention to, there's certain things you don't have to pay attention to, I pay attention to it. I make sure that I have the biggest forests, the biggest mountains, the biggest continuous forests, mountains, oceans, plains, marsh, you name it. I try to make sure I get every single bonus point possible so I can get the highest score. I am always trying to push myself to really top my score. I think right now I'm at 98. So I'm pretty happy with that one. But anyways, number 2 is the loop. All right, number 1, here it is. Number 1 is Lizard Wizard by Forbidden Games. And the fact that I just said Forbidden Games should give you a little hint on why this game is number 1. It is right here. I got that nice little Kickstarter deluxe edition of Lizard Wizard. I am a big fan of Forbidden Games. Honestly, in my opinion, they could release whatever they want, and I will get it at some point. I might not get it like right away, like in Kickstarter, although granted, I'm really getting there. I'm getting there to where I'm just going to back every single game that Forbidden Games decides to make on Kickstarter, because I just love their games so much, that much. They're really fun. I played Lizard Wizard. I didn't demo it. I played it at Gen Con, and I loved it. I loved the new elements they added to it. I know some people don't like it, but they're like, oh, if you take it away, then you just got Raccoon Tycoon. But I do like this game. It is so much fun. I like the different choices that you can have to do. I like everything about this game. So that's why number 1 is Lizard Wizard. Well, that's my top 10 favorite games of 2021. If there's any games that you guys really enjoyed that you played this year, but they need to be brand new to you. So it doesn't matter if they came out like this year, or last year, or any of the previous years. It just needs to be new to you. So just put them down in the comments below. And I'd love to hear your opinions about that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell to be notified for videos just like this. And if you really enjoy the channel, consider donating to Toys for Tots. It is still our charity that we are promoting this time. I've talked about it a lot, so I don't feel like I need to, but you just click on the link down below. You can donate money or a toy. This is to help kids who are in struggling situations get a toy for Christmas. So we hope that you will be on the lookout for our next Top 10s video next year. But until then, thanks for the views.